Cowboys Nation, this changes everything. A massive move just shook up Dallas, and you need to hear this right now. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications for daily Cowboys updates. What's happening in Big D right now is absolutely wild, and I'm telling you, these two stories breaking simultaneously are going to flip everything you thought you knew about this roster upside down. We're talking about a second-round investment potentially getting the boot for a complete unknown, and a quarterback scandal that could reshape the entire future of this franchise. This is the kind of chaos that either builds dynasties or destroys seasons, and we're about to find out which one it's going to be. First story that's got everyone losing their minds involves Luke Schoonmaker, the tight end we all thought was a lock to be part of this team's foundation. Remember when Jerry Jones traded up to grab this guy in the second round back in 2023? 58th overall pick, Michigan product, supposed to be the reliable safety blanket Dak Prescott desperately needed. Well, 3 seasons later and the whispers around the star are getting louder. Sources close to the organization are saying his roster spot isn't guaranteed anymore, and the reason why is going to blow your mind. Enter Michael Trigg, an undrafted free agent out of Baylor who's apparently been lighting up practice so much that coaches can't stop talking about him. 6'4", 240 pounds of pure athletic ability, and according to scouts who've watched him work, this kid moves like he's got magnets in his hands. The comparison that keeps coming up? Gerald Everett in his prime. That's not small talk. That's legitimate praise for a guy who was supposed to be nothing more than a camp body. Here's what makes this situation absolutely insane. Schoonmaker has been the definition of reliable since day one. 51 straight games played, never missed a snap due to injury, never caused drama in the locker room, never made headlines for the wrong reasons. This dude has been the perfect professional. But in 3 seasons, he's only found the end zone 3 times. 3 touchdowns from a second-round tight end is not what you expect when you're trying to compete for championships. The financial side of this makes it even more brutal. Schoonmaker's in the final year of his rookie contract, about $6.2 million total over 4 years, which means cutting him doesn't create any dead money nightmares. From a business perspective, moving on from him is actually clean, and that's exactly the kind of cold calculation that wins Super Bowls. Mike McCarthy and his staff aren't running a charity. They're trying to build the most explosive offense possible. But let's talk about what Trigg brings to the table, because this is where things get really exciting. Scouting reports describe him as having the route-running fluidity of a wide receiver trapped in a linebacker's body. His college tape shows a guy who consistently won contested catches, dominated smaller defensive backs in the red zone, and created separation in ways that you simply cannot teach. The knock on him coming out was his blocking technique and some inconsistency with his hands. But if he's figured those things out in just a few months of NFL coaching, we might be looking at a complete steal. The coaching staff's reaction tells you everything you need to know about how real this competition is. When Mike McCarthy publicly praises undrafted rookies by name, that's not coach speak, that's genuine excitement about what he's seeing. The tight end room that everyone thought was settled with Jake Ferguson as the starter and Schoonmaker as the reliable backup is now wide open chaos, and sometimes chaos creates opportunity for greatness. This brings us to the second story that's got everyone in Cowboys Nation scratching their heads and wondering what the hell is going on in the front office. Brandon Sorsby, former Texas Tech quarterback, is potentially about to become available through the supplemental draft, and the reasons why are absolutely wild. This kid placed thousands of bets on college sports over 4 years, including games involving his own teams at Cincinnati and Indiana. We're not talking about a few bad decisions here. We're talking about a pattern of behavior that got him kicked out of college football and into rehab. The gambling situation is serious and needs to be treated as such. This is a young man dealing with real addiction issues, and that human element cannot be ignored when evaluating him as a prospect. But from a football perspective, if Texas Tech pulls his NIL deal and the NCAA suspends him permanently, he's going to enter the supplemental draft in July, and some team is going to get the chance to roll the dice on serious talent. Here's what makes this so intriguing for Dallas specifically. Dak Prescott turns 34 next summer, and while he's still playing at an elite level, throwing for over 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns last season, this organization learned the hard way what happens when your starter goes down. That torn hamstring cost us 9 games and turned a playoff-caliber season into a 7-10 disaster. Behind Dak right now, we've got Sam Howell and Joe Milton competing for the backup spot, and neither one of those guys screams future franchise quarterback. Sorsby's college resume is genuinely impressive despite all the off-field chaos. Scouts describe him as having elite mobility and creativity. the kind of dual threat ability that makes defensive coordinators lose sleep. His pocket passing skills need work, that's acknowledged, but the arm talent and athletic ability are legitimate NFL-caliber tools. The comparison that keeps coming up is a more athletic version of Jalen Hurts before he figured everything out in Philadelphia. The price tag is what makes this conversation even more interesting. We're talking about potentially a 2027 second or third round pick in the supplemental draft, not a massive investment that cripples your future. For a franchise that's been reactive at the quarterback position for decades, being proactive and grabbing a potential heir apparent at that price could be genius-level asset management. Think about the timeline here. If Dallas drafts Sorsby, he sits behind Dak for 2 or 3 years, learns the system, gets his personal life completely together, and develops into the pocket passer he needs to become. By the time Dak starts declining or his contract becomes too expensive, you've got a 25-year-old quarterback with elite athleticism and 3 years of NFL development ready to take over. That's how successful franchises plan for the future. The risk is obvious and can't be ignored. You're gambling a valuable draft pick on a player with serious character concerns and unproven NFL readiness. If the gambling issues resurface or if his talent doesn't translate, you've wasted an asset that could have been used to help the team immediately. But sometimes the biggest risks lead to the biggest rewards, and finding franchise quarterbacks is so difficult that you have to take calculated gambles when the opportunity presents itself. What makes both of these stories so fascinating is they represent the same philosophical approach from the Dallas front office. They're prioritizing upside and potential over safety and reliability. Potentially cutting Schoonmaker for Trigg is choosing explosive athletic ability over proven dependability. Potentially drafting Sorsby is choosing elite mobility and arm talent over character certainty. Both moves would signal a franchise willing to take risks to find game-changing talent. The fan reaction to all of this has been absolutely electric. Social media is split between Cowboys Nation members who love the aggressive approach and others who think the team is making unnecessary gambles on proven commodities. The reality is probably somewhere in the middle, but what's encouraging is seeing an organization that's not content to run back the same roster that disappointed last season. Training camp is going to be absolutely must-watch television this summer because both of these situations are going to play out in real time. The tight end battle between Schoonmaker and Trigg could determine whether Dallas has found their next offensive weapon or made a costly mistake. The quarterback situation behind Dak is going to shape the franchise's future for years to come. What this all means for Cowboys fans is simple. This offseason is far from over, and the roster you think you know might look completely different by September. Sometimes that's exactly what championship teams need, the willingness to make bold moves and trust their evaluation of talent over conventional wisdom. We're about to find out if this front office has the courage of their convictions and whether these calculated gambles pay off when the lights get bright. Cowboys Nation, make sure you're subscribed and hitting that notification bell because this story is just getting started and you don't want to miss a single update as these situations develop.